I'm Shas Chilcott. I'm joint chair with Dani.
I'm Dani Hooper-Bennett, joint chair.
I'm Kathy Webb. I'm IBD nurse at Devon.
And I'm Heather Jenkin, and I'm one of the volunteers. Fantastic.
So we'd love to see your questions. So if you've got any questions, please send them in, and then we will answer them as best we can. We've got a few things that we can talk about that have come up this week. The first thing that I think we'd quite like to talk about is a big story that we've just started putting out, and that's about a guy called Richard Toop. And his family contacted us because he's been ill for a long time. He's been ill since he was 8 years old, and he's 31 now. And he's had 3 lots of surgery, umpteen different kinds of medication, poor guy. But he's managed to get through it, and he's now on the latest drug that there is available, which Kathy will tell us a bit about in a minute, I think.
You can't pronounce.
I can't say it. That's why I'm avoiding saying
it. It's me, isn't it?
Quite right. Yes. And also they're putting on a coffee morning on Saturday the 2nd of September, and it's at the Rock in Yelverton, and it'll be a fantastic event. It's not just a coffee morning, because they've got a raffle, they've got a bring and buy, they've got a cake sale, and they've got a silent auction. And I've already seen one of the prizes, and we put it on our Facebook page, and it's for a 2-bedroom holiday cottage, a weekend away at a 2-bedroom holiday cottage with access to a pool and really nice stuff. So we've got to go along just a bit for that. So do come along to that on Saturday the 2nd of September, please, and support Richard and his family. But like I said, I'd quite like Kathy to explain about this drug.
And to pronounce it.
Yes.
Yeah, so Richard is one of 6 patients so far who has been given Ustekinumab. It's easier to say Stellara. And this is a new drug for Crohn's we're quite excited about. So it's generally given to people that have failed other anti-TNFs such as Humira and Infliximab. And we've only got 6 people on it, but we've now got agreement from NICE that we can now go ahead and give this regularly, which is great news, and we're hoping it will transform the way that people with severe Crohn's will be treated. So far the results are fairly good. We've had a few hiccups on the whole.
Sorry about the noise.
Talking about hiccups. On the whole, the results are good. Yeah.
That's really good news, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you've got questions, can you please send them in? Just type them in as quick as you can, because we've only got half an hour, so we're answering questions that have already come in. But if you've got a question live, then do send them in quickly. What else do you want to talk about?
Well, we've got a couple of followers already that are watching us. So good evening to Hannah and Daniel, was it? And Jake. Bonsoir, Hannah, who's in France.
Oh, right. Very good.
We have got one question in, which is from a lady who submitted a question saying that she's worried about being kept on strong drugs, most of which immunosuppressants, and she's been on them for a number of years now. Is there anything that she should be concerned about, and who she can speak to about that?
Oh, that could have been me. I could have asked that question.
Was it you?
No, it wasn't.
Do you want to talk about it from a patient, or do you want me to answer?
I think you should talk about it.
Thanks. Right. So, well, it's a big question. There are several immunosuppressant drugs: azathioprine, mercaptopurine, well known to Sharon, and then the newer biologic drugs like Infliximab, Ustekinumab, and Humira. Generally speaking, we don't like people on the drugs forever and ever and ever. So as a rule of thumb, we would say azathioprine and mercaptopurine tends to be 5 years.
Oops.
And then we would try stopping it. And the biologics tend to be shorter, but we do have people on them for longer periods. So after a year, we would reassess people's disease and then think about stopping it if things were looking settled. But as long as you're having blood, why is it?
Look at that camera.
Oh, as long as you're having blood tests regularly and you're being reviewed in clinic, then we will be keeping an eye on you. So don't worry too much. The risks are fairly small unless you've been on them many years.
I can vouch for the fact that they're very good at keeping an eye on the bloods, because I mean I've been on it for quite a time now, I think, and I've been doing my regular 3 monthly blood test, and every time I do one, I just let Kathy know, or the nurses generally, that I've done it, and she came back to me this time, Kathy, and said, "Oh, your white cells are a little bit low," which means
you're a bit dodgy.
A bit dodgy, which I knew I was dodgy, but no, I didn't know about the white blood cells. So I've dropped my medication slightly, and hopefully that'll still be fine, but I've dropped it for the time being, and so she's still monitoring it for me. Thank you.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Talking of blood tests, we've had a question from someone who has suspected Crohn's disease and is about to have some tests to confirm diagnosis, and is a little concerned about what to expect, and wondered any insight we can share to maybe let her know what to expect or ease her concerns.
Is that me again?
Well, we've all had the test.
Yes.
And we've all survived the test.
Yes.
Let's put it that way. You know, we've all come out the other side. I would say that the tests are not too bad.
No.
You know, I'm not going to sugarcoat everything.
No.
Let's be entirely honest here, because not all tests are, you know, they're not going to be pleasant, let's say. You know,
No.
having a blood test, you know, being stabbed by a needle isn't pleasant, is it? You know, it's not something you
That's the easy bit,
choose.
yeah.
It's not something you choose to have. But it's all super important to have the test done as well, you know, and you know, to be entirely honest, I still get incredibly nervous, and Kathy knows this because I will come to her and always talk it through. But that is the best thing also about having the IBD nurses on the team, because they're so easy to talk to.
Yeah.
And if you do have any problems, no matter how ridiculous it seems, especially in my case, because it's usually the same thing that worries me, I still go to Kathy, and she doesn't make you feel silly. She just lets you say what you need to say and get it out. And 9 times out of the 10, I come out the other side of the test and say, well, that was just, you know, I felt so silly, you know, for going through all of that as well.
I mean, it isn't, they are nerve-wracking, aren't
Yeah.
they? Like, they can be, and you're worrying about tests and having them done. But yeah, I think what Heather says is true. Just, you know, it is important to have them done, otherwise it's difficult to get a diagnosis without them. And these days things have changed a lot. So, you know, the bowel prep, even the MRIs, they're better than they used to be. So I think
The worst thing about a colonoscopy is the
Yes,
prep, not the
exactly.
colonoscopy.
Definitely.
So don't worry too much. It will, you know,
It will all come out.
it'll all be all right.
Sorry, that was a bit
Thanks,
naughty. I do apologise.
So for someone who doesn't know, we've touched on blood tests. What are those other tests that you're talking about and avoiding saying?
Should we mention
So-
the camera?
I think we should.
So the camera test of the bowel, which is the one Sharon was alluding to in a very obvious manner.
And endoscopies as well.
Endoscopies and an MRI scan, which is looking at the small bowel. Those are the main tests we would use.
But when you have a colonoscopy, you're sedated, but you're not completely knocked out. And if you're interested, like I often am, you can see the camera going through your bowel, which I think is absolutely fascinating.
Danny,
And
you
it's
like
really-
that, don't you?
No, I don't. Knock me out all the way, please.
See, that just proves it, doesn't it? Because we all have
We're all
different things.
different,
Because
yeah.
I have full sedation
Oh,
when
right.
I have my test done.
Don't you have a general
I
anaesthetic?
do. I have a full general anaesthetic, so I don't remember anything. You go in there and they put you in a nice little gown, very attractive, and you go into the room and they are really, really friendly.
Yeah.
There's always some lovely nurses, there's some lovely doctors in there, and they always make you feel at ease. They always make sure that you're okay as well. They always ask how you're feeling, and then I don't remember anything else because I fall asleep. And then I wake up and you never even know that the test is done, because afterwards there's no pain, there's nothing there. The only thing that I would say is when you are having a colonoscopy, they will put gas into your belly, so you will be a bit gassy afterwards.
In fact, they won't let you home until you've
you've-
passed
yeah.
the wind at least once.
But you do get a cup of tea
Oh yeah, you do.
and a
yeah.
biscuit
Absolutely.
afterwards. You know, benefits.
But I mean, if you're just sedated and you don't have the full anaesthetic, and I've had mine like that every time I've had one, I'd say it's uncomfortable, but I wouldn't say it's painful. I'd just say it's a bit uncomfortable. That's all. It's not. It's not dreadfully the end of the world. I've had a lot worse than that.
Well,
to be honest.
considering that you're usually in pain with Crohn's or UC,
Yeah.
if you're uncomfortable, I think we can all deal with that
Yeah.
better than the pain.
But if you can have full sedation, then obviously you can
Go
go
for
for that
it.
anyway.
There's the option, isn't
Yeah,
there?
exactly.
They're still giving you options
Yeah.
there to. It's your body.
Daniel, he's just popped a comment saying that he's had a pill cam.
Oh,
and he found it very difficult. The worst part was swallowing the pill. Are they commonly used?
Yes, because I would do that.
You can't have one.
Why not?
Pillcams are for the small bowel, the top end.
Right.
So far, so yes, it's a very clever initiative. Really,
Yeah.
they just tiny little camera, swallow it down, and it takes pictures all the way through the small bowel.
So is it wirelessly transmitting back to the?
You get a handy little
Yes.
camera.
You've had one?
No, Tom's had one.
Oh.
Tom's had one, yeah.
They're very clever. The only thing they can't do is take biopsies, obviously, so they're not used for large bowel disease. They're used for small bowel, and they tend to be used for more discrete small bowel disease. So an MRI will show obvious inflammation. Sometimes if we suspect people do have inflammation, but it might be more subtle, then we would use the pill cam because it picks up very, very subtle inflammation in the bowel. It can be a very, very handy test. It's we don't use a lot of it, but we do occasionally.
And that was Daniel Whiting.
Hi, Dan.
So you just wanted to say hi. You recognise his name.
Yes.
I recognise his name.
Jennifer's popped a comment about the prep, I'm presuming for colonoscopies, etc. Saying that that's definitely the hardest bit, she agrees, especially when she works, she's a mum, she has to do school runs, and she wishes it could just be done all at hospital. But I think we would agree.
Absolutely, it's tough. Yeah.
So another question we have, talking of mums, is one from a mum who's a bit worried about her child who has IBD, about the transition into adult care, not knowing what to expect when that happens.
I mean, yeah, we have started. We've made a big change to transition in the last couple of years. We had one of our consultants for peds left, and we've got a new consultant now. It's very good.
We say peds.
Paediatrics.
Yes. I just thought I'd straighten that one out.
Paediatrics.
Oh, no, very good, yeah.
Left. So we now have a new consultant who's very good, and Judy, my colleague, does the transition clinic with him. So it's much more streamlined than it used to be. We do a transition clinic once every 3 months, and Dr. Hayward, the lead gastro, does like a transitioning clinic when the children actually are handed over, if you like. And that normally happens between 16 and 18. We will go to all the clinics from the age of 14. One of us will, so we can get to meet people. And I think there have been a lot of teething problems with it, because it's a lot to take on, and we're not paediatric nurses, but we do feel it's important to do that. So I would say from now on in, it should be a smoother transition. And I think children get a better deal than they have done before, because that can be really difficult, especially because you've been.
Yeah, I've done it. I've done it.
You must have
I
done
was
it.
very
I must have
fast.
done it, but I
You must have
don't recall it.
You're not that old.
I was 15 when I transitioned into adult care, because mine was a bit of an odd case, wasn't it? Because
you're a bit
I'm
old.
just a bit odd in general, to be honest. Yeah, no, mine was a bit of an odd case because I didn't have a paediatric gastroenterologist in Plymouth. There wasn't any. My peds gastro was up in Bristol.
Yeah, other people have said that to me.
So
A lot of people do.
They do some clinics down here now. The last time I spoke to my old gastroenterologist, and so when I got signed off up there, when I came back down here, my consultant down here signed me off as well, which meant I automatically went straight into adult care. So Kathy and Chris Hayward had a massive task on their hands.
We did.
Well, we sort of plonked down my notes in front of you and let you get on with it.
It worked.
It did. Didn't really have much of a choice.
I think it is a lot better now.
But to be honest, it also gave me the freedom to choose which consultant I really wanted to spend a lot more time with as well, because there are quite a few adult gastro consultants on the team, aren't there? So I was picky and wanted to stay with Chris Hayward as much as possible, just for continuity, because you get that with paediatrics, because you've got that one consultant,
and I think that's one of the
and you go
downsides
into a big
adults.
that's probably the biggest thing, because you go from having one consultant to having
lots.
Whoever's there at the time.
Yes. And that is a problem, especially I think for mums. I think they do get used to the continuity of having one person, and I think it can be really difficult to suddenly meet lots of people. I think that, again, I think that should improve. I think having the contact with the IBD nurses will improve that, because we're always the same. We're always
Well, does Judy concentrate on kids then?
No,
as
not
IBD
at all.
nurse?
She just does the transition clinic. So,
Oh, right,
so
okay.
she does that once every 3 months. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've got a question from a patient who's been told that they need an operation for their ulcerative colitis. Very unsure whether or not to go ahead with the operation. Again, really unsure about what to expect. Can anyone talk in their experience?
Not had an
Provide any
operation.
advice?
I've had an operation,
You've had an
but for
operation,
Crohn's
but for
disease,
Crohn's,
so
yeah.
it's a little bit
It's a bit
different.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh, I'll be honest,
I
I've
can
got
explain-
ulcerative colitis, and when I was in hospital
that's right.
before,
We had that conversation.
you said to me, would you, we might have to do an operation if you don't respond this time. And I was like, good, go ahead. Because I honestly thought I'd rather have it taken out and not have that problem anymore. All the drugs and trying out different things, everything else. I honestly thought it'd be better to just take it out. But in the end, I responded to the intravenous steroids, and then you didn't operate on me.
And I think it depends on, like you say, on the timing of that. I mean, a lot of people have a very acute, severe illness, and that's very difficult for them to get their head around. Suddenly, you're going to have your bowel removed, you've got a stoma bag. If you've been ill for a long, long time, then you will eventually get to the point that you just think, I'm really fed up with being ill.
Yeah.
Which is, and most of those people will kind of accept it. So if you've gone through all the drugs, I would say 99% of people that have had a colectomy for colitis say to me, I wish I'd had it done before. No, I would say 99% definitely, because they do have their life back. For colitis, it's considered a cure. You can have a pouch operation, which I won't go into in too much detail, which means that you can ultimately have no bag. So it's a good choice, and these days it can even be done keyhole.
Oh right, we done keyhole.
Oh yes,
Yeah. Can I?
But yourself
Well, they tried my surgery as keyhole.
Yeah,
Oh, right.
yeah. And you can, you know what it's like actually having an operation.
Yeah, having an
Scary, isn't it?
operation side of things. Yeah, well, like with any operation, it's a little bit frightening at first. I was, to be truthful, a bit of a wreck when I found out I was gonna have an operation, and went straight to Kathy. Poor Kathy. Poor Kathy had me in her office, calming me down. But to be entirely truthful, I admitted myself in the end to have my operation. I phoned you up in the morning and said, I've had enough, and I just want to get this done now, and went straight in, and within the week I'd had an operation and had quite a substantial amount of my small bowel taken out. I have no bag. I have a rather large scar on my tummy, but to be honest, I'd rather have the scar and feel a bit better than anything else. And I'm doing pretty well at the moment. I'm on Humira, so I'm pretty good.
On the whole, it makes people feel better.
Yeah.
Some people have a rocky time, they do, and they have a miserable, a few months maybe, but on the whole, they do feel a lot better.
We should have had China
Oh,
on this
yeah.
side.
Yeah.
So China's the wrong side of the camera. China should have been on this side of the camera tonight. And she could have told you about her experience.
And Lloyd Hopes is popped a comment saying
hi,
that
Lloyd.
an operation was what worked well for him.
Yeah.
Daniel, you're there saying that he's on his 11th operation, so people sharing their stories.
11?
Of course, we fingers crossed. In terms of surgery, can we talk a little bit about how surgical procedures might differ between Crohn's and colitis, as people might be unsure?
So the only operation that you would have for colitis is removal of the large bowel, so a colectomy, and then you could have a pouch operation.
Do you always remove the whole of the large
Yes,
bowel?
always,
Right.
because if you don't, it just comes back.
Right,
So they always remove the whole of the large bowel,
Yeah.
irrespective of where your disease is.
right.
And then eventually you could have an ilioanal pouch, which means you don't have a stoma.
Yeah.
So that's quite straightforward. Crohn's is very, very different really, and it depends where you've got your Crohn's. So if you've got small bowel Crohn's, you have a section of bowel removed and joined together. Hopefully you don't need a stoma. Sometimes you do, depending on how bad the diseases. Often it can be done keyhole, and you know, again, people's recovery can often be quite quick. If you've got large bowel Crohn's, that's a bit different. You still need the large bowel removed like you do for a colitis, but that would mean that you'd need a permanent, on the whole, ileostomy, stoma bag. So
Which is what Richard had. Was Richard Toop, going back to Richard Toop, because he had the whole large bowel and then 50 centimetres
quite a
of the
lot of
small
it.
bowel.
That's right. Yeah.
Wait,
so-
I'm surprised the guy's got any bowel left at all. If we're watching Richard, we're really feeling for you.
He's got enough. He's got enough. Bless him. He likes his roast dinners. He's a farmer. He can still have his roast. So yeah, on the whole, those are the differences. So stricturoplasties for Crohn's, small bowel Crohn's, and resections. Removal of the large bowel for Crohn's in the large bowel or ulcerative colitis.
Great. And Donna submitted a question saying that she's on Humira. A work colleague is coming with shingles.
Oh.
What should she do in this situation?
Run. No, I'm joking.
So, if you've had chicken pox, you should be immune to getting. You can't. If you've had chicken pox before, you should be fine.
Mm-hmm.
If you've never had chicken pox, you can catch chicken pox from somebody with active shingles. So you can't be absolutely 100% sure, but if she's had chicken pox, which nearly everyone has, and in fact we screen for that before we start Humira,
did a
specifically for that reason,
Yeah.
then it would be very unlikely that you'd get the virus from somebody with shingles. You can't 100% say that, but on the whole, it's unusual to get chickenpox twice. You can't catch shingles, because shingles is just reactivation of the chickenpox virus. But you could get chickenpox. I would say, on the whole, you know, carry on as you are. If you do feel that you've got any signs of a rash, you know, then let someone know straight away and withhold your Humira.
Again, Caroline popping a comment on there saying that having a stoma was the best thing for her.
Yeah.
She wishes she did it years ago.
Oh, yeah.
So common.
Yeah.
So common. It's a big
I'm
thing,
worried
isn't
now
it?
that they'll say I'm too bloody old to have anything, have the operation soon. I won't have a chance.
You
So
can
I'm not
never
taking
be
you when
too
you're
old.
Uh,
They do open heart bypasses on 98-year-olds.
Oh, you're
Not that old.
right then.
No comment.
Okay, so throughout tonight's chat, all of you have referred to when you've picked up the phone to the nurses. People may be thinking that because you're sat on the OT, you kind of have that access to the nurses. Can we talk about how everyone else out there can get advice and support, and how they can reach the IBD nurses?
Absolutely, yeah. They're not special.
No. No, in fact, sometimes she just ignores us on purpose.
Can work the other way. No, any IBD patient has full access to the IBD nurses. Do we know the helpline number?
And it's just come up on our screen. It is. Very clever. Thank you, Todd.
Well done. There's the
Oh, I
helpline
can't
number.
03? I can't see it.
She's got her glasses on and everything.
That's the support line. No, it's an 0300. I think that's the support line for Crohn's and
that's
Colitis
the Crohn's and
UK.
Colitis support
Right.
line.
Line.
Okay.
And there's an
Helpline
IBD
number is it
helpline.
01752?
439.
No.
133.
That's the coordinator's number.
Great number to have in your diary.
Should we just
Right, we'll start again.
Oh
my lord. It's on the screen now
439224.
Yeah.
That's the helpline
That's-
number.
for the IBD nurses.
Yeah, there is an email as well, but I can't remember that.
No, because that's really long.
But it's on
But
the
if
end
you're
of the
getting-
message.
Okay, and if
Yeah.
you want the
We'll-
email, you can get in contact with the person.
Yeah, we'll put it up again. And that's coming up any minute. On the screen.
So yeah,
The
for
other
that,
number.
anybody can.
Yeah, the other number is
Is
the
the-
coordinator usually.
That's a very good number to have if you've got any problems with your appointments, or like we do quite a few infusions over at Mount Gold Hospital now, because we had problems with beds, and that's Hayley, and her number is 01752 430 133.
That was done in sign language.
Very
That's how it's still do.
Just look quickly.
So if people
worth saying if say I was feeling a bit dodgy and I'd already been in contact with you and I thought I probably needed to make an appointment, would I phone that number?
You don't need to ring as well. Like
Right,
if
okay,
I'd
so
spoken to you and said you're dodgy,
then you would just
need to,
yeah. Which you always say, yeah.
you need to come in.
But if I hadn't spoken to you and I thought, oh, maybe I just need an appointment,
Yeah,
I haven't had one for a while, feel
No.
like I need an appointment, phone the
absolutely, ring
coordinator,
that coordinator.
which
number.
again the
Yeah.
number is 01752 430
Oh,
133.
And it's, is it Hayley you just said?
Yeah.
Yeah, well Hayley's online tonight and she's just,
hi Hayley.
she's
Oh.
just put her phone number on, so thank you
Oh,
very much,
well
Hayley.
done, Hayley.
Ah,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Hope you're having a glass of wine.
Yeah, like we all are. Just coming to the.
Jennifer submitted a question saying that she's had an operation 4.5 years ago, didn't quite go as well as expected and needed another operation, ending up with a bag. She had it reversed 6 months ago, however there's now talk of her maybe needing another op and she's worried and was wondering what are the chances of ending up with a bag again.
Is it for Crohn's or do we not know?
We're not sure.
It sounds, I mean it's difficult, but it sounds like it's for Crohn's and that she had an operation maybe to remove part of the small bowel and then needed a stoma. Then it came back. The stoma was
Yes.
first. It sounds a bit like that. Yeah. It's difficult to say. I don't know if you've had any medication or any, immunosuppressants as well. But it's unlikely, I would say, that you'd need another bag. Hopefully, it would go more straightforwardly this time. But if you want to give us a ring, I don't know who you are. Well, I probably do, but I don't know your surname. And if you want to give us a ring, we can talk to you about it if you're worried about it. We'll be happy to have a chat with you. So, let us have a few more details.
Cool. Yeah, so Jennifer's popping some more details on there, so maybe if she could get in touch.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
problem at all.
A question from a lady based in Lincolnshire. She doesn't have any access to an IBD nurse in the hospital. We've got 2 or 3 specialist IBD nurses for the whole county, most of which are part-time, so it's quite difficult, I imagine, to get hold of them. What can she do to get some IBD nurses back in our hospitals?
Oh, well, we were campaigning. Crohn's and Colitis UK were campaigning. Was it the year before last or last year?
Last year.
Last year, yeah.
Last year.
Campaign for IBD nurses. There's a big campaign going on, and it certainly had influenced the number of IBD nurses that were in hospitals around the country. But continue to campaign. And if you've got, I don't know if you've got a group, a Crohn's and Colitis local group.
The Lincolnshire group there is one.
Yeah, I mean, you can look on the Crohn's and Colitis UK head office site and it will tell you where all the local groups are.
You can put your postcode in and it will tell you
Yes.
your nearest group.
And then get in contact with them and see if they can help you campaign, because certainly, I mean, to be fair, we're really lucky down here because we've got 4 of you just at I mean, I know you're not all full time.
No,
but
that's
there are-
right. We have done a lot of work in pushing for that, haven't we?
Yeah.
And we've got a big catchment area, but it's still really disappointing to hear that
Some of them got
people do
nothing.
not have any access to that,
Yes.
because it's so important.
Yeah.
Yeah. Write to your MP.
Yes, right to your MP,
Yeah.
absolutely. And there's certainly resources on, again, the Crohn's and Colitis UK website where you can look at things. I mean, they've sent letters into MPs before, so I'm
It
sure
does
you can
make
get
a
hold of a
difference.
letter or
Yeah,
template.
definitely.
It does make a difference. So just get all your friends and family to do it as well.
Okay, and finally, for this evening, talking about getting involved. How can people get involved locally? What are the events you guys have coming up? And how can they contribute to maybe future live chats, etc.?
We've got 3 events booked. So we've got the coffee morning at the Rock Inn in Yelverton on the 2nd of September. We'll be posting it all on our site coming up.
It's already been posted. Yeah.
Posted. We've got a quiz booked for the end of September, and we've got pig racing at the beginning of October. So come along because they're all great fun.
Yeah, and it's all on our Facebook. We always put the dates on Facebook.
Do you
Actually,
not-
we've got the Dickensian evening on the
Dickensian
1st of
as
December
in
as well.
Tavistock.
Yeah, and then we'll be having a medical speaking kind of session. Instead of an AGM this year, we're going to have we'll have to do a little bit of AGM, but we're going to have a few medical speakers like Kathy.
No.
Yes, you're
Yes,
coming.
you are.
Yes, you are. Yeah, yes, not up in front of everybody.
Oh,
Remember what we said? What we said was we'll have a few tables round the edge,
Oh, okay,
and
yeah.
you can stand, and then you can talk to a few people at a time, and it'll be fine. She hates this. I don't know why she wants, but she still comes, bless her.
It's because you give me wine.
Yes, that's right.
Come otherwise.
Just joking. Yeah. Yeah. So
Thank
Thank you.
Yes,
That's
so
it.
come
Keep
along
an
to one
eye
of
on-
our events coming up soon.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on our Facebook page, and we look forward to seeing you all there.
And our next one of these is on Tuesday, the 12th of September, our next Facebook Live. So do join us. Thank you very much.
Bye.